So let's take a look at an example. So in Decentraland, uh, world maps are very important. So being able to understand how to read these maps, and each map kind of slightly differs, but they also have a lot of similarities. There in Decentraland, you can see green and blue districts, which are not available for you to purchase. Anything that's available for you to purchase is in gray. And if something is in red, this is an example of a profile. So if it's in red, it shows you something that you already own. So this is if you go to decentraland.org, you can see this as a viewer there. The things that you should look for when looking at for properties to purchase is like the shape, right? Like if it's a perfect square, then it's easier to build on. Whereas if it's like a weird shape, then it's a little more difficult to build on. I actually had a plot of land up here that was in the shape of a number one. And for a long time, I was like, oh, this is cool because it's in the shape of a number one. But as a developer, I was trying to deploy experiences on that land, and it was very difficult because I had to design it as rectangle, right? I had to make a rectangle here, a rectangle here, and a rectangle here. I had to deploy 3 separate experiences. So there's a little known thing that like the more perfect the shape is, the more valuable it is, as opposed to having irregular shapes. Another thing with Decentraland is that the light gray areas are roads, so nobody can buy those. So anything that's adjacent to a road is automatically more popular and is more valuable because if you build something there, you know that nobody else can build something next to you. You kind of have that space open so people that walk by can see it. And these are available on both the Decentraland Marketplace and on OpenSea. So, this is what the Decentraland Marketplace looks like at market.decentraland.org. You can search by land, you can search by parcels, you can sort by cheapest, you can sort by recently listed, you can sort by most expensive. And as you go through it, using those tips that I gave and then anything else that you learn spending time in this space, you can identify which deals are good and which ones are not. And an example of that, so here's an example of a bad deal. So this person is offering this plot of land next to a road, so it seems like it'll be good, for 19,900 mana. Mana is about $1 today, so it's $20,298 asking price. The cheapest parcel that's available on Decentraland you could buy right now is for only $4,000. So already they're asking for over 4x premium. Next, the cheapest parcel next to a road is $5,900. So remember how I said that if a parcel is next to the road is worth more? Even the parcel that's next to a road is only worth a couple thousand more. So you can see it already that this is way overpriced over this. And then the last thing is that the blue district is not defined or a well-known district. So I'm going to go back to the world map for a second. So another thing about these blue districts is that these are owned by big groups of people that are creating experiences on them. So for example, this area here is known as the Decentraland University. So this is a group that is creating educational experiences inside of Decentraland. Over in the top left, we have Vegas City. So that's the casinos that I mentioned earlier. There's a lot of casinos there. That's where deadmau5 held his concert. So if you are paying more for a piece of land, as long as it's like close to one of these areas, like it's in proximity, then that would justify the purchase. But the thing with this piece of land is that when you click on it and then you go and highlight the area over the blue, it'll say undefined, which means that the group that owns that hasn't said, oh, this is going to be a casino area or a fashion district or whatever. So even though it looks like it could be a good deal because it's close to a blue area, because it's not defined, then you don't know. It's like maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't be good. So this is an example. This is something that I would avoid, even though they try to get you into thinking that it's a good deal because of the road and because of the blue district. On the other side, a good deal. This is Dragon City. It's right next to Dragon City. 4,750 mana. That's $4,750, right? As mentioned before, the cheapest parcel right now is about 4,000, and the cheapest one next to a road is 6,000. This one's not next to a road, but it is right next to Dragon City. Now, Dragon City is a famous Decentraland district. Very high Asian influences. They do a lot of parties, and they get a lot of audience from Asia, from Singapore, China, Japan. They kind of focus in on that. That's like their niche. And the more time you spend in the space, the more you can recognize like, oh, these are the events that people attend inside Decentraland. These are the districts that are more famous than other districts. So, now you have to consider like this plot of land is 21% more than the cheapest plot. So you could buy the cheapest plot and save 21%, and then just wait for the floor price to increase or decrease, right? Like the charts before, like on average, the average price of a plot is increasing over time. But if you want to pay a premium for this parcel might increase at a faster rate than the cheapest parcel because of these properties. So those are the considerations you have to take for if you want to pay for pay a premium for a plot of land. Another example with Sandbox. So Sandbox is a little easier to identify because Sandbox has a unique feature that if you own enough parcels that are placed together, you can put a picture over it. So whereas Decentraland, everything was like in blue or gray, so you kind of have to learn where everything is or like highlight over it. Here you can just see it. Binance owns a lot of land, Atari owns a lot of land, Snoop Dogg owns land, Smurfs own land, Care Bears own land. So you can go and be neighbors next to these people. I think someone paid $40,000 for like a plot of land to be next to Snoop Dogg and just like be his neighbor. So, those are those are considerations that you can have for this. This you can see on OpenSea, or you can see it at Sandbox. They have a map, a viewer, and explorer, and then OpenSea you can go and buy and sell these. This is what the marketplace looks like, right? On OpenSea, same thing as Decentraland Marketplace. You can go through it, buy and sell it. It's a little more visually appealing because you can see like the images of the people that own larger pieces of land. An example of a bad deal here. So this is where people get a little misleading. So this is advertised as next to CyberKongs, right? So CyberKongs is similar to Bored Apes. They're a PFP project with gorillas, and they're creating these token-gated communities and these experiences. So if you own a CyberKong NFT, you can participate in these experiences. So they're selling for 5 Ethereum. They're selling 2 plots of land, and so the asking price is about 4,905 per parcel. The floor price of a Sandbox land is 3,100. So you're already paying a premium. But the thing is that they say that it's next to CyberKongs, but it's actually 2 spaces away, because you can see there's these 2 in between. And this is the orange one, right? That's the parcel that you're buying. So even though they say it's next to CyberKongs, it's actually 2 parcels away. And it is 2 together. So that's another consideration, is that if people are selling you a bundle, maybe that's a better deal because you want pieces that are next to each other. I think where I disagree with a lot of Metaverse people is people in Metaverse tend to say that location matters. Like you want to be close to these projects or you want to be like around here or there. I don't think location matters as much because you can teleport in the Metaverse, right? So you can be anywhere, wherever you want. I think what matters more is pieces that are connected to each other. Because if you're building an experience, you're building a game, or you're building a museum, or you're building a gallery, it's not a good experience for people to be constantly having to teleport around the map, right? You want to have it connected as one big experience. So I think that matters. So the fact that they are selling 2 of them together might seem to make it worth it, but after doing more research on OpenSea and you can search, you can see that the cheapest set of 2 parcels is only 3,727 per parcel. So if you wanted to buy 2 parcels put together, you don't need to pay extra for this one. You could just buy the cheapest one, which is only $3,700. So those are considerations to have for there. A good deal is this one, which is for 18.6 ETH, so a little over 30K, but it is 9 parcels put together. So the key for the 9 parcels is that if you buy these 9, this is what they're selling, these 9 together, you can put them together and put a picture over it. So when you put your picture over it, you can make that picture whatever you want. People put for sale signs, people put advertisements, people put, the flags of their countries, or they put like their experience, the name of their company and the logo of the company. So that is a valuable thing to have, right? People pay a premium for that. And when you look at it, right, the asking price is about $4,000 a parcel. Cheapest parcel is 3,000. So that, and the cheapest set of 9 is 4,115. So this is giving you're paying a 30% premium above the floor price to get these 9 put together. So that's a consideration that you'd have to make. Like, would I rather just buy 9 individual ones, or just buy 1 or 2 individual ones, or do I want to go extra? If you're gonna buy the 9, might as well buy them put together, because when you buy them and put them together, then you could sell it as a bundle for like a higher amount. And then there's more examples. So the world maps all look different. Axie Infinity, they're very game focused, so it's a game that you play. It's like Farmville. It's the easiest way I can describe it. you get resources, you make resources, you grow things, and then you cultivate them, and then you just advance in the game. So with them, the considerations are much different. It's not about proximity; it's about what kind of plot it is, whether it's like grass or whether it's savanna. As mentioned before, when someone bought the 9 parcels for like the 1 million, they were like regular parcels, but then the next year someone bought 1 parcel for 2 million. That was a parcel inside here, right? The Genesis area. So this is like the most famous area there. So that's another thing that you can learn about in terms of the premium versus regular sales. This is what their marketplace looks like. The marketplaces kind of look the same as you go through the different ones. They all kind of have similar features, right? The land is represented by coordinate planes. You can sort by cheapest, sort by highest price, or most recently listed. Other maps, other worlds, right? Each one has their own quirks, but at the end of the day, they're usually represented the same way, where you're looking at coordinate planes and you're buying the different coordinates, and then you look at proximity, you look at the how many plots you can put together, and you look at like what are the properties of the particular plot. Another thing is that you can, instead of buying, you can auction. So maybe you don't want to pay that full price. This is the 9 plot parcel that we looked at earlier in Sandbox, the one that was going for 18 ETH. So if you look at the history, you can actually see that he lists it at 18 ETH, but he hasn't actually sold it at that price. People are offering at cheaper prices within the past month, and they're just expiring. So, you know, if you don't want to pay the full 18 ETH, you could try to undercut it and say, I'll pay the 14 ETH or 15 ETH, and then see if they take that offer. So that's another thing. It's like the asking price is just an asking price. At least on OpenSea, you're able to do these kinds of bids, and that way you're able to get even better deals. Once you identify a good plot of land, you can negotiate down.